All right. So I'm just gonna sit here and talk, and y'all can hear me from there because I tested it. And if you can't, well, I don't know what to tell you. But I want to talk about the idea that like I think storytelling is hitting a different. It's hit a different level. I've realized I've realized something, and I think I've been doing it and I've been seeing it, but I didn't watching this YouTube channel called A Little Bit of Everything, and they go through DC timeline, MC, Marvel timeline, and stuff like that. What we're seeing, right, when it comes to the overall business of being a storyteller, right, is or being a writer is that how good like what the jobs that are really important is what it seems like for me because I'm trying to get into the industry personally. So I have to watch and see what these executives and producers and directors and actors. I can see how everybody acts during these Marvel, MCU, and DC projects because this is this is high level writing. Is what this is. This is like I don't know how many people have thought about this idea, um, but uh, right? It's like competitive writing, right? It really feels like competitive writing, competitive creative writing, right? Not just regular competitive writing, but competitive creative writing, right? Where you're trying to be able to tell a story in such a at least how it is right now in America, and yeah, I'm only speaking from a Black American male's perspective, so I can't really tell you everything, but I can tell you from my perspective what it looks like is that the uh, the writing landscape is more meta now, right? We're at a point, and when it comes to writing, we're at a point as a collective, uh, as a collective, like I said, like or as a population, we we don't want simple stories anymore. You know what I'm saying? I feel like simple stories, at least in my generation, it feels like my generation is not we're not with simple stories anymore. We don't want simple stories. We want complex stories. We want real stories that feel real, which means they feel complex, they feel unique, right? Which is why it's interesting how in the MCU, like we are the people, the Gen Z, the ones who are mostly paying for most of the box office tickets and stuff, is us, right? And the millennials and the Gen X, I believe. Uh, but we're the ones with expendable money who are more likely to spend more money on stuff we actually emotionally care about than older people, right? So I'm just saying, like, when it comes to like the movie goer experience, or like the movie watcher experience, like I feel like, you know, what I'm saying it's more of a younger person's thing, which is why I'm saying like you got to think about it from that perspective of as a behind the scenes person in the filmmaking industry, right? It's like what it looks like to me is like this is like some what the Russo brothers and what other people who have written for long periods of time, what it feels like to me is like there's certain storylines that you want to tell, there's certain messages or things you want to portray in your story, especially when it comes to your character arcs and stuff like that, right? And the audience is going to react a certain way, right? Whether or not you want them to or not, they're going to react a certain way to your storyline, whether you like it or not. There's bound to be somebody about there's bound to be somebody who doesn't like the storyline that you're putting forth because you know they think it might put forth a harmful rhetoric. But and that's with any story. You could be the most progressive person in the world. Somebody's going to find something you do offensive. It is what it is, which means you need to work on you need to work on being progressive because you want to be progressive, not because other people are telling you how to be progressive. You You know what I'm saying? Because you actually care about people to try to be respectful of what they want you to, you know, how do you want them to interact with them as a human being, you know? The point is that the writing game is different, bro. The writing game is different, dude. You gotta write for, think about it, you gotta write for on screen, you gotta write for these character arcs. Now you gotta write for the character arcs for, if you wanna be at the top, right? When it comes to like being a creative in the business, right? You gotta think about how good are you at writing a story interpersonally, plus, you know what I'm saying, between a group of people, plus people who haven't met yet, and you want to write the story to get them to meet, but you want to write the story to be good enough to where people believe that they met naturally, right? Anyway, like I was saying, okay, before I was interrupted by a handsome man, okay. I'm over here trying to be smart and shit, and it's just, I don't know, I just like the guy's energy. I don't know. Chill. I can say that. Fuck you. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I think because of that, a lot of writers have to think about that, and a lot of writers getting put in that position to think about writing in that way, and they actually can't, like, they just aren't up for the task, bro. They aren't up there. They aren't writers like that. A lot of these people who get put in these positions, especially during the pandemic when the MCU was happening and it was rearranging titles and stuff. Like, even now, it's like some of these people get put in these roles because they're the next up for the role. It's that simple. But some of these people weren't looking to be the next up. They're just okay with the job that they had. That's the problem with a system like this, right? Because if the thing you're interested in doing if the thing you're interested in doing is basically surrounded by the idea that you have to be there to get paid to take care of your bills, you're not going to be excited to do the work you're there for. A lot of animators get burnt out of their job for animating. They loved animating, but they got burnt out of it because Disney sucks. Like, as a company, they just suck as a company. Like, so these movies get turned out. Some of these animators and stuff, they push to their limits trying to animate this shit. It's already hard enough. You think, like, I want to be a video game developer, but I don't want to make the video game because I know how tedious that is. You telling me that you're going to sit here and look over somebody who's able to animate and see them individually make all this stuff, do all these things, and you want them to work faster? Are we serious right now? Like, do you understand what I'm talking about here? Like, this is why it's like a twofold thing, right? It's like, it's not just the writers, there's animators too. But I'm just saying, like, overall, as a writer, as a person that loves writing and loves, like, I feel actually much more excited about entering into the current meta of the professional creative writing sphere, because I'm basically allowed to kind of, like, make it up as I go, because that's kind of how it was anyway. Because I feel like a lot of people come from different fields of work into a different genre or something like that, and they're just used to always somebody like Russo Brothers. They come from TV. They're used to this type of stuff. This is what they do in TV, right? But they took it and they made it into a movie format, kind of, with a movie and TV format, and they just broaden it out, right? To kind of, like, write as you go, because it makes it much more interesting that way. And you know what? I'll give the MCU that. I will give the MCU that. Okay? I will give the MCU the idea that, you know what, y'all are doing some high level storytelling, because y'all not only using movies to tell a story, you're also using promotional material, you're using social media, you're using real life, you're using real life actors, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're using a lot of different ways to interact with the community and the audience to tell your story. You know what I'm saying? You're not just making your story and putting it up on TV. You're making your story, taking these characters from that story and putting it onto online, and this is what industry standard for a while. But I don't think people really recognize that. I don't know. It's just me, but I like just watching all this happen. I'm like, dude, these people are writing on a dip. Like, the MCU story timeline is, or not timeline, the MCU multiverse is like 2 rings on top of each other. Not 2, but like it's multiple rings on top of each other with different timelines branching out from each ring, right? And then on top of that, it's also the idea that Kang, a one above all, was kind of like siphoning off the idea of not siphoning off, but he was like isolating one timeline to work the way he wanted it to work, as opposed to it working the way that the rest of the time, as opposed to it reacting to the rest of the universe, right, naturally, to the rest of the multiverse, to the rest of the right timelines. It's supposed to react with the rest of the timelines naturally, but sometimes but Kang didn't want that, right? We was so we was following a certain version of the MCU when it first started, because Kang wanted it that way, right? But that doesn't mean that's the actual way that the universe should be written or should be done. That's just a way we saw it. Isn't that crazy? That's some meta shit, bro. I'm like, you know what, Feige? You know what, Russo Brothers? I hate y'all less. I hate y'all less because y'all be trying to explain, but the problem is people don't really dive deep into what these people say behind the scenes. They don't. A lot of audience members don't actually dive into actually looking at what these people are saying about the movies that they make. They're just assuming that this is true and then running with it and telling, that's how social media works. Sadly, they want you to do that instead of actually engaging with the medium in the way it's supposed to be engaged with. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. I'll put this on the main channel, I guess, because why not? Yeah. I appreciate, shout out to a little bit of everything on YouTube. You have a lot of great videos. I'm actually, after I'm done with this video, I'm gonna go back to your channel and I'm going to keep watching because I have more to watch, because I still gotta learn more about the stuff. And you give me all the information I need to continue to move forward peacefully and calmly and without feeling like everything's not messed up, everything's just, you fixed it. Thank you, I appreciate that. This is a big shout out to a little bit of everything. All right, I'll see y'all in the next video. I have other videos I have ideas for on this channel. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I might do more talking head videos and just put a thumbnail, because why not?